Tonight, new fallout from this disturbing video of police in Colorado laughing at body cam footage of an arrest. In that video, officers allegedly injured a 73-year-old woman with dementia. We're learning tonight 3 officers involved in that incident have left the department. A new milestone in the fight against COVID-19, 100 million Americans fully vaccinated as more states move to reopen. And the U.S. tonight blocking travel to the world's second biggest country. As that humanitarian crisis in India rages out of control, hospital beds are scarce and supplies almost non-existent. Aid from the U.S. beginning to trickle in, but is the world doing enough to help? And what might the ripple effect be here if India can't slow the surge? How concerned should we be about this outbreak spreading beyond India's borders?
I think those travel restrictions make sense. They will slow it down, but they will not stop those variants from showing up here in the United States.
Questions tonight after that horrific deadly stampede during a religious festival in Israel. Dozens of people killed, including Americans. Just released the long-awaited Army investigation into the death of Vanessa Guillen. We're now learning that the Fort Hood soldier was indeed sexually harassed by a supervisor. Pandemic screen blues? You've probably experimented with fun filters on your Zoom camera. It's fun and creative, but are they healthy? And from a political refugee to palace royalty.
It's hard not to think of this love story as like a little bit of a fairy tale.
It is. It does have a lot of fairy tale in it, yeah.
Our Maggie Rulli's conversation with the Grand Duchess of Luxembourg, who's living a real-life fairy tale. And good evening, everyone. I'm Kira Phillips in for Lindsay Davis. Thank you so much for streaming with us. 100 million Americans now fully vaccinated, and states are moving to reopen, and travelers are even being encouraged to visit. But one place Americans will most likely not be headed anytime soon is India. Tonight, the U.S. government is moving to ban travel to the world's second largest country as the situation there is dire, while a variant now spreads from India to the U.S. The first emergency shipment of aid and supplies to India arrived today, the country now averaging more than 350,000 cases per day. And while case numbers are dropping here, there is concern tonight about the domino effect of the virus spreading out of control in India and what it'll mean for our efforts to vaccinate enough Americans to reach herd immunity. Our Kaylee Hartung leads us off tonight.
Tonight, with Americans eager to turn the corner on the pandemic, the U.S. announcing a new travel ban on most non-U.S. citizens coming from India, starting Tuesday. The White House citing extraordinarily high COVID-19 caseloads and multiple variants circulating in India.
What's your own sense of that for people who have family and loved ones there? People are worried. No question. People are worried.
The virus crippling India's healthcare system, killing 3,500 people in just the last 24 hours. The first American planes carrying desperately needed supplies, including oxygen, arriving in India today. Here at home, health officials in Michigan and Tennessee identifying 2 cases of a variant now spreading quickly in India. One person had recently returned from a trip there.
The virus knows no boundaries, knows no borders. Variants and emerging threats could come to us from anywhere in the world at any point in time.
But right now, the CDC does not list this strain first found in India as a variant of concern. It comes as the U.S. hits a new milestone in the fight against the virus. 100 million Americans now fully vaccinated. And tonight, new signs of life feeling closer to normal. The vaccination site at Disneyland shutting down. And today, the park welcoming back California residents for the first time in over a year, including the Beigel family.
And I walked in, and it's just, I'm home. This place and the 5 of us all together today is something we were afraid would never happen again.
California theme parks limited to 25% capacity. Disneyland, which is owned by ABC's parent company, reopening with masks required, temperature screenings, cashless transactions, markers, and plexiglass to help with physical distancing. California among 23 states seeing cases fall over the past week, but the demand for vaccines is slipping. From New Jersey to New Orleans, a foot race to get shots into arms.
And Kaylee Hartung joining me now from Dodger Stadium, one of my favorite places to see a ball game. Kaylee, we understand the mass vaccination site is about to shut down since demand has dropped. What about the mask mandate for travelers?
Yeah, Kara, we're hearing news from TSA tonight. That mandate that requires travelers to wear face coverings on planes, trains, and buses, it was set to expire on May 11th, but they've now extended it to September 13th, and that includes people who are fully vaccinated.
I'm joined now by Dr. Ashish Jha, Dean of the Brown University School of Public Health. Thanks so much for being here, Doctor.
Thank you for having me on.
Well, we have seen the images of India's health system at the breaking point. We've seen them every day, and the U.S. and other countries are now sending in aid and supplies. So what do you think are the most important things India needs at this moment to actually attempt to get this outbreak under control?
Yeah, India has two sets of problems at once. One is that the infection numbers are out of control, and they need public health measures like mask wearing, testing, vaccinations to get under control. And then the second is they have a lot of people who've already been infected who are very, very sick, who need hospital beds, oxygen, medicines. So we really need to attack this on both sides of this, both on taking care of sick people and preventing future infections.
Let's talk about AstraZeneca for a minute. The White House is saying about 10 million doses of that vaccine could be released soon once the FDA signs off. And then another 50 million doses will be produced in the coming months, apparently, and that will be shared globally. So should India get the majority of those doses now, do you think, or should other countries that are struggling be included?
Yeah, so I think the bottom line is it should be really driven by need. And given that the need in India is the biggest, it probably should get the lion's share. But there are indeed absolutely other countries that are also struggling that probably need it as well. But given India's sort of size, its population, and just the number of people infected, I do think it makes sense to send a majority of those doses to India.
We also, Doctor, reported earlier on that new travel restriction on flights from India to the U.S. How concerned should we be about this outbreak spreading beyond India's borders?
Yeah, what we have seen throughout this whole pandemic is when you see the rise of new variants, and there are some new variants coming out of India, they never stay in the country where they originated. They become global very quickly. So I think those travel restrictions make sense. They will slow it down, but they will not stop those variants from showing up here in the United States. In fact, we already have a couple of cases of that. So this is one of the many reasons we've got to help bring this pandemic under control elsewhere, because when those outbreaks happen, the variants from those places end up in our country as well.
Right. And I mean, in India right now, the new cases and deaths, I mean, it's just been astronomical. But you said it's likely to get worse than what we are actually reporting. So can you explain why you feel that way? And do you actually think it could get worse in India before it can get better?
Yeah, I do, and I'm worried. And I obviously hope I'm wrong, right? Because we won't want it to get worse. But infection numbers have been in of over 350,000. I think we're going to start seeing numbers in the 400,000s, and if things don't get under control quickly, into the 500,000s every day. The deaths of 4,000 deaths are clearly a massive underreporting. They're not counting most of the deaths. So things are pretty bad and really need to be turned around very, very quickly.
Well, I know you and I, all of us, are glad that the U.S. is helping to support India right now. Meanwhile, back here at home, we're able to do that because we have good news, and that is that cases have been dropping in recent days. We now have more than 100 million American adults who have been fully vaccinated. So what do you think with regard to all of us here at home? Are we turning a corner in regard to controlling the virus here in the United States?
Absolutely. We are turning the corner. I think this is the good news. Infection numbers are down. I expect those numbers to continue to go down. I expect infection numbers to plummet actually in the next month. All of this, of course, contingent on people continue to get vaccinated. If people stop getting vaccinated, then we put all of this at risk. But assuming the vaccination numbers continue, I think one should be very optimistic about a very, very good summer.
All right, you have us all smiling now. And yes, keep getting vaccinated. Thank you so much, Dr. Jha. Appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Well, the Army has released its long-awaited report into the death of Vanessa Guillen in Texas. Investigators say she was sexually harassed by a supervisor at Fort Hood, and military leaders ignored her allegations. The harassment is not linked to her murder, but the report also reveals new details about her killer. Here's ABC's Stephanie Ramos.
Tonight, the Army's long-awaited report into Specialist Vanessa Guillen's disappearance and murder, finding that she had indeed been sexually harassed by a superior, as her family has insisted from the start. The Army admitting they failed. In that nearly 300-page report, the Army revealing the 20-year-old was sexually harassed by that superior at Fort Hood on 2 separate occasions. Her mother, Gloria, remembering a conversation the two had months before she went missing.
Está acosando sexualmente un sargento. Le dije, no, mija, es que eso no puede ser, mija. ¿Cómo a ese grado? Dijo, sí, mami, y se le salieron sus lagrimitas así.
Army investigators saying the harassment had no link to Guillen's murder, allegedly by Specialist Aaron Robinson. The report detailing how when investigators closed in on Robinson last June, poor communication by criminal investigators with enlisted soldiers enabled Robinson to flee their custody. He later killed himself. The Army, however, saying that while Robinson did harass a different soldier, they found no credible evidence to conclude he had harassed Guillen or had any relationship with her outside of work.
We, as an Army, failed to protect Specialist Guillen.
Today, a total of 21 soldiers, including some senior officers in her brigade, have been disciplined. And on the 1-year anniversary of Guillen's death, her family at the Capitol.
These tears are coming out of my eyes are of sadness, but mostly of frustration, because a year later, nothing has been done.
Stephanie Ramos joins me now. So, Stephanie, we got a statement from the lawyer for Vanessa Guillen's family today. What did it say?
Well, Kira, the Guillen family attorney is criticizing the report, but says it illustrates just how badly Vanessa's disappearance and murder were mishandled. The attorney says this is exactly why the Vanessa Guillen bill needs to be passed in Congress in order to protect other service members. The bill, for instance, if passed, would criminalize sexual harassment under military law. Kira.
And so what's next for the investigation?
So it appears that this is the last investigation on the Army side, but the criminal case is still proceeding against Robinson's girlfriend, who is alleged to have helped him dispose of Guillen's remains. But on the Army side, this is it, Kira.
I'm curious, Stephanie, you're active military. Is this a tough story for you to cover? And are you happy to see progress when it comes to allegations of sexual assault and women in the military?
Well, Kira, as a journalist, wearing my journalist hat covering this story, it's important to share what the family has felt in this past year over their loss, and also to highlight what the military is doing to prevent these cases of sexual harassment and assault. So we continue to be here to relay that information to viewers, of course. And I mean, for anyone, really, this is a tough story to cover. It's been more than a year now that we know Vanessa Guillen disappeared. And from the start, we heard her family's pleas, and I think anybody in this position was moved by how much pain they were going through.
Well, we respect you as a journalist and also as someone who serves our country. Stephanie Ramos, thanks so much.
Thank you.
News out of the White House tonight, the Biden administration pulling back funding for the border wall, the Defense Department canceling construction projects along the southern border and returning billions of dollars to the Pentagon. Let's bring in senior White House correspondent Mary Bruce. So, Mary, why stop building and why now?
Well, as a candidate, Kira, Joe Biden promised not to build another foot of then-President Trump's wall. Once in office, he quickly halted construction, and now today his administration has announced that they are canceling all military funding for the border wall. This is roughly $14 billion that then-President Trump took from other projects to fund his wall. And the Biden administration is still unclear about what comes next because, of course, there are still billions of other dollars in government funding that have been directed towards the wall. It's not clear what comes of that and whether any more wall will eventually be built.
Well, this money from the Pentagon wasn't originally intended for border wall construction. So where was that money diverted from and where will it go now?
Well, the Biden administration wants this money to go back where it was originally intended to go. So we're talking about projects like building warehouses, schools, and daycares on military bases, other military projects. This was funding that was originally allocated for these specific uses. Then President Trump then took that money, directed it towards his signature initiative. Now the Biden administration wants it to go back where it initially was intended.
All right, Mary Bruce, live from the White House. Mary, thanks.
Thank you.
Next to the horrific stampede that we first told you about last night, dozens of people killed in a massive stampede during a religious festival in Israel. Israeli officials say it's one of the worst disasters in that nation's history. And tonight, we're learning Americans are among the dead. James Longman has more.
The joyful religious celebration of a revered 2nd century rabbi turned into one of Israel's worst ever tragedies in an instant. Young children are among at least 45 people killed and more than 150 injured in a stampede. And tonight, the Israeli consulate says at least 4 Americans were killed in the crush. One of them, 19-year-old Donnie Morris from New Jersey. His uncle, a local rabbi. He was studying in Israel for the year on a GAP program. Watch as some manage to escape the mayhem while paramedics scramble to reach those trapped inside. Children evacuated, but the dead lined up nearby. What triggered the panic? Still unclear.
It was in a small corridor area where a lot of people had crowded in. They couldn't find a way out. And once the panic started, there was no controlling it.
The Lag BaOmer festival usually attracts over 300,000 people, but because of COVID, authorities had asked people to stay away. They'd expected 10,000, 100,000 arrived. The site, remote and unprepared. Barricades to ensure social distancing ended up fencing people in. Prime Minister Netanyahu visited the site this morning. He was met with anger by a community who feel the police were slow to react.
There is real anger tonight in Israel, especially from the Orthodox community. When Benjamin Netanyahu visited earlier this morning, he was actually greeted with boos from people there, people throwing water bottles in his direction, and you heard cries of murderers about the police who'd been on the site. Now, it's obviously very difficult to establish what had happened there. There will be an investigation, but according to some, the police actually blocked them from being able to leave the shrine when the crushes started, and they blame authorities for not adapting quickly enough. Of course, it is difficult to police these sorts of events in a pandemic, and there will be some sympathies with the authorities. They did tell people to stay away. 100,000 people turned up when only 10,000 were expected, but I think the communities who took part in this pilgrimage will say the authorities should have adapted. They should have made the facilities easier to negotiate. But as it was, those barricades had been set up for social distancing. They were the very barricades that caused this crush. And we've seen some of the most awful scenes coming out of Israel. And the real sadness is that it's affected families. This is a family celebration which has been turned into horror. 2 victims tonight we've heard from Israel, brothers of 9 and 14 years old. And these reports of bodies strewn at the exit to the shrine and their phones ringing on their bodies as their families tried to find out what had happened to them. Absolutely tragic. The worst disaster in Israel in peacetime. Kira.
All right, James Longman, thank you. And when we come back, a traffic stop with an elderly woman caught on body cam is now leading to a lawsuit. You'll see why. Filters, so many of them. We all use them. Photos, Insta, even Zoom. That's where we use them. But is it changing the way we look at ourselves? And Rudy Giuliani gets raided. And of course, he's speaking out. But did the lawyer make a smart legal move?
With so much at stake, so much on the line, more Americans turn here than any other newscast. ABC News World News Tonight with David Muir.
We have made it through another week together.
America's #1 most watched newscast across all of television.
Admit it, these days, what you need to know
seems to change just about every day.
What is it that you really want to know, need to know?
To help you not just get through your day,
but to make the most of it. Feel smarter.
Feel better.
Feel happier.
Well, how about a third hour of Good Morning America in the afternoon?
GMA 3, what you need to know. Lunchtime at 1 Eastern, 12 Central and Pacific on ABC. It's all about you.
Robin Roberts, George Stephanopoulos, Michael Strahan. Wake up with America's #1 most watched morning show, ABC's
Good Morning America.
The world may feel out of your control, but your happiness doesn't have to be. Learn the secrets to happiness. Listen to the 10% Happier podcast, free on Apple Podcasts.
ABC News honored winner for the second straight year with the Edward R. Murrow Award for Overall Excellence in Television. ABC News, America's #1 news source. Friday nights, 9/8 Central. True crime, cinematic, real-life drama, stunning, the unthinkable. Follow the clues. The Hunt. True crime. 2020. Friday nights, 9/8 Central on ABC.
The reality is our country can collapse from within.
You see the white power movement on the march. Klansmen and neo-Nazis, skinheads, it's meant to incite war.
From the KKK to Oklahoma City to Charlottesville, the new documentary event special.
We just need to start talking about race.
Homegrown Hate, The War Among Us.
This is a real wake-up call.
Streaming now on ABC News Live.
Now, when it matters most, the straightforward facts. ABC News is America's #1 news. Good Morning America, #1 in the morning, 9 years running. World News Tonight with David Muir, #1 in the evening with America's most watched newscast. 2020, the #1 news magazine on Friday nights. The View, the #1 daytime talk show. And ABC News Live, #1 in streaming news. ABC News is America's #1 news.
So Major League Baseball severed ties with one of the greatest second basemen to ever play the game. Roberto Alomar was a consultant for the league and a special assistant to the Toronto Blue Jays, but he is now out following an investigation into a sexual misconduct allegation. The Hall of Famer tweeted that he hopes he will be able to address the accusation directly and publicly. Well, Rudy Giuliani was raided, and now he's railing against the federal investigation launched against him. Former President Trump's personal attorney is now fighting back in an interview, calling the FBI raid on his home and office illegal. Here's ABC's Chief Justice correspondent, Pierre Thomas.
God bless you, Rudy. Rudy Giuliani, once the most famous federal prosecutor in the country, now lashing out at the U.S. Attorney's office he once ran after investigators raided his Manhattan apartment, showing up on his doorstep at 6 a.m.
There was a big bang, bang, bang on the door, and outside were seven FBI agents with a warrant for electronics.
It marked the dramatic escalation of a 2-year investigation into President Trump's former attorney. Giuliani's lawyer telling ABC News the feds are looking to see whether Giuliani was working as a foreign agent for clients in Ukraine while he was pressuring that government to investigate Joe and Hunter Biden. Giuliani denies it.
Obviously, the assistant U.S. attorneys hate me, and they hate Trump, which is probably the whole thing.
He also says federal prosecutors are out to get him because they're jealous of his success.
When I became U.S. attorney, I thought I had reached the pinnacle of my career, and I did it every single day, I assure you, with dedication and honor and honesty. When I watch the corruption of it now, it truly... It probably affects me more than anything else, and I can't even express it.
President Biden says he's keeping his distance from the investigation, insisting he was not told in advance about the Giuliani raid.
I give him my word I was not. I made a pledge. I would not interfere in any way, order, or try to stop any investigation the Justice Department had underway.
And Pierre Thomas now joins us live. Pierre, we're also learning about another close ally of former President Trump being warned that he was a potential Russian disinformation target.
Yes, Senator Ron Johnson is being totally dismissive, issuing a statement saying he felt the briefing was completely useless and unnecessary. He said he was fully aware of the dangers of Russian disinformation, Kira, so he is being totally dismissive of all of this.
Well, you also mentioned this investigation has been 2 years in the making, right? So how much longer could this go on, you think?
Well, they just got these electronic devices, and it can take weeks, if not months, to go through them. It's a very arduous process because Rudy Giuliani is an attorney, so there are all kinds of legal hurdles that they have to check with the court. So this could go on quite some time, Kira.
We will follow it with you. Pierre Thomas, thanks so much.
Pleasure.
To help us understand some of the legal issues surrounding this investigation, we bring in Robert Mintz, a former federal prosecutor, now with the firm McCarter and English. Thanks for coming on, Robert.
Thanks for having me.
So besides what has been revealed since the raid, what do we not know about what federal prosecutors are looking into in connection with Giuliani at this point?
Well, there's really a lot that we don't know because, remember, this search warrant on its face does not give details of what prosecutors are looking at. It only shows that there is evidence of a crime that may be located at a particular location, in this case, Mr. Giuliani's home and his office, and it says specifically what criminal violations may be evidenced there. So in other words, it will show the criminal statute. In this case, likely a violation of the Foreign Agent Registration Act, which requires an individual who is working on behalf of a foreign government to register if they're going to lobby in the United States on behalf of that foreign entity.
Well, it's certainly unusual for the FBI to raid the home and office of a lawyer. I was actually having flashbacks of when this happened to Michael Cohen, former advisor and lawyer to the former President Trump. Why would prosecutors go this route? And does it give us any clues about the nature of the seriousness of the investigation? Because we saw how things turned out for Michael Cohen after a similar raid took place for him.
This is a very serious turn in this investigation because a search warrant in and of itself is the most aggressive, the most intrusive weapon that prosecutors have to go after evidence. And then to do it to an attorney is doubly problematic because of the attorney-client privilege issues that are involved in that. So it tells us that this is a serious investigation, that it's moving very quickly. And it also tells us that for whatever reason, prosecutors were concerned that if they did not go in there and seize this evidence physically themselves, that they were worried that somehow the evidence might not be there when they needed it.
Well, as you know, Giuliani is firing back, no surprise, claiming that the raid, which was approved by a federal judge, by the way, was illegal and unconstitutional. Do you agree?
Well, we don't really know. And frankly, neither does Mr. Giuliani, because in order to get that search warrant, an affidavit had to be presented to the federal judge, which laid out the probable cause that a crime was committed and that evidence of that crime was located at his house and his office. That's something that Mr. Giuliani has not seen, his lawyers haven't seen, and frankly, they will never see unless criminal charges are brought. And then at that time, that evidence is turned over to his lawyers and they can move to suppress the evidence if they believe there was a violation. But we just can't tell at this point because we don't know the basis that federal prosecutors used in order to obtain that warrant.
All right. So as an attorney, I'm going to ask you this. Let's say you were representing Giuliani. As you know, he sat down for an interview on Fox News, no surprise, while he's under investigation. Do you think that was a good idea? Would you have supported him if he were your client?
Well, it's not unusual in these times, as you know, for individuals to try to play out their case in the court of public opinion, as opposed to waiting until they get their day in court. But generally, it's not a great idea because everything that's said during that interview can ultimately be used against him in some later prosecution. So you can be sure the prosecutors were listening very carefully to what he said and are going to try to trip him up somewhere down the road if they have evidence that contradicts what he said during the interview.
Well, he's always been needless to say, Giuliani has always been an interesting one to watch, listen to, and see what happens. Robert Mintz, I know you'll be watching as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Stay ahead here on Prime. The stunning arrest of a reality TV son and dad on child pornography charges. And some treacherous winds whisking across parts of the country. We're tracking dangerous weather as we inch closer to the weekend. And got chicken? There's a shortage? Say it isn't so. We take a look at By the Numbers. But first, our tweet of the day from the first pick in the NFL draft. Trevor Lawrence, who is now a Jacksonville Jaguar. You can catch the draft all week on ABC and ESPN.
I know what happened, and I'm not guilty.
Why the fascination with criminal trials? Figure out what's really out there.
She revealed she had murdered his family.
I know in my heart they did this.
It's the time of suspicion. The ending's really tough.
You don't know whether truth is going to be difficult to find unless you try to find it.
The reality is our country can collapse from within.
You see the white power movement on the march. Klansmen and neo-Nazis, skinheads, it's meant to incite war.
From the KKK to Oklahoma City to Charlottesville, the new documentary event special.
We just need to start talking about race.
Homegrown hate, the war among us.
This is a real wake-up call.
Streaming now on ABC News Live.
Admit it. These days, what you need to know
seems to change just about every day.
What is it that you really want to know, need to know?
To help you not just get through your day,
but to make the most of it. Feel smarter.
Feel better.
Feel happier.
Well, how about a third hour of Good Morning America in the afternoon?
GMA 3, what you need to know. Lunchtime at 1 Eastern, 12 Central and Pacific on ABC. It's all about you.
Assault on the Capitol, the ABC News original, exclusively on Hulu, now streaming. With so much at stake, so much on the line, more Americans turn here than any other newscast. ABC News World News Tonight with David Muir.
We have made it through another week together.
America's #1 most watched newscast across all of television.
The world may feel out of your control, but your happiness doesn't have to be. Learn the secrets to happiness. Listen to the 10% Happier podcast, free on Apple Podcasts.
Robin Roberts, George Stephanopoulos, Michael Strahan. Wake up with America's #1 most watched morning show. ABC's
Good Morning America.
ABC News honored winner for the second straight year with the Edward R. Murrow Award for Overall Excellence in Television. ABC News, America's #1 news source.
We turn now to America's favorite meat. Chicken. Its popularity is on the rise, prompting some sellers to sound the alarm about chicken shortages. We take a look by the numbers. Last quarter, KFC's comparable store sales spiked 14%. The CEO of KFC's parent company says the popularity of their new chicken sandwich, coupled with a tightening supply of chicken, has them struggling to keep up with demand. Chick-fil-A sales increased 23%, and Bojangles recently announced shortages of chicken tenders across its 750 locations, according to Bloomberg. And while collectively, fast food restaurants saw a 23% drop in customers during the pandemic, fried chicken fast food fared much better, only declining by 6%. That's according to the agency network TOP. And finally, during this past Super Bowl weekend, Americans ate 1.4 billion chicken wings, which was a 2% increase from the year before. That's according to the National Chicken Council. And we have much more to get to here on Prime. The home filled with more than 90 people. The investigation into possible human trafficking and the concerns that a bunch of them may have COVID. Are filters changing the way we look at ourselves? But first, a look at our top trending stories on abcnews.com.
We will guide you through it all tonight. We have made it through another week together.
Give me a big hug, Griffin.
We tell all our patients how much they're loved. We hold their hands.
David, we're showing our love and support for all the ICU staff.
They're the heroes in this.
Now, when it matters most, the straightforward facts. ABC News is America's #1 news. Good Morning America, #1 in the morning, 9 years running. World News Tonight with David Muir, #1 in the evening with America's most watched newscast. 2020, the #1 news magazine on Friday nights. The View, the #1 daytime talk show. And ABC News Live, #1 in streaming news. ABC News is America's #1 news. News.
The world may feel out of your control, but your happiness doesn't have to be. Learn the secrets to happiness. Listen to the 10% Happier podcast, free on Apple Podcasts.
ABC News honored winner for the second straight year with the Edward R. Murrow Award for Overall Excellence in Television. ABC News, America's #1 news source.
This is GMA3, what you need to know. GMA3.
A third hour of Good Morning America in the afternoon.
It's all about you. Lunchtime on ABC.
The reality is our country can collapse from within.
You see the white power movement on the march. Klansmen and neo-Nazis, skinheads, it's meant to incite war.
From the KKK to Oklahoma City to Charlottesville, the new documentary event special.
We just need to start talking about race.
Homegrown hate, the war among us.
This is a real wake-up call.
Streaming now on ABC News Live.
Friday nights, 9/8 Central. True crime, cinematic, real-life drama, stunning, the unthinkable. Follow the clues. The Hunt. True crime. 2020. Friday nights, 9/8 Central on ABC.
The most powerful stories of our time, anytime. Nightline.
Today, 100 million Americans are fully vaccinated.
Welcome good news in the nation's efforts to defeat the coronavirus pandemic.
I think we can confidently say the worst is behind us, barring some crazy unforeseen variant.
And New York City, once the epicenter of the pandemic, will open at 100% capacity by July 1st, including bars, restaurants, stores, and stadiums, though Broadway will wait until September.
This is going to be the summer of New York City.
And tonight, new signs of life feeling closer to normal. The vaccination site at Disneyland shutting down. And today, the park welcoming back California residents for the first time in over a year. California among 23 states seeing cases fall over the past week.
But in other parts of the country, like the Pacific Northwest, COVID infections and hospitalizations are on the rise, especially among younger people who have yet to be vaccinated.
We're starting to see more and more people who are in their 30s, 40s, and 50s needing hospital care.
A North Carolina police department is under fire tonight after newly released body camera footage from 2019 shows officers allegedly grabbing Stephanie Bottom by the hair and pulling her out of the vehicle. She claims they injured her during the incident. The now 68-year-old from Atlanta was stopped by Salisbury police officers for allegedly driving 10 miles over the 70-mile-per-hour speed limit.
You okay? No, they broke my arm. Broke your arm?
She says she was on her way to her great-aunt's funeral. In the video, she can be heard saying that she couldn't hear the sirens over her loud music.
Because I didn't know they were going after me.
Ma'am, there was about 4 police cars behind you at one point in time. Did you ever realize that we were behind you and we were on you to stop?
I was listening to my music and
I don't understand how they do it in Georgia, but that's not how it's done here.
The officers claim they'd been following her for over 10 minutes. She's now suing the Salisbury police. The department says it's unable to comment on pending litigation.
And now to the funeral for a 16-year-old girl shot and killed by police in Columbus, Ohio.
And she made a difference.
Kaya Bryant shot by an officer while fighting with 2 other girls. Body cam video shows her with a knife in her hand. The family says she didn't have to die.
This day is all about her.
The bishop is calling for police reform. The principal of her school presenting the family with an honorary diploma.
Although there are no words that any of us can say or preach to bring her back, but hopefully it will give you a little ease of the sadness to know that we are saying her name.
Josh Duggar, the eldest son from 19 kids and counting, has been charged with possession of and receiving child pornography. Arrested Thursday by U.S. Marshals, he is accused of downloading child sex abuse material. Authorities say some of those victims as young as 12 years old.
So the real question is, what evidence does the prosecutor have to establish that he did in fact download pornography and pornographic images. Presumably it's from a computer or some other electronic device.
He has pled not guilty, his family saying in a statement, "We appreciate your continued prayers for our family at this time. The accusations brought against Joshua today are very serious. It is our prayer that the truth, no matter what it is, will come to light."
At least a dozen states from North Carolina to Massachusetts are under wind alerts today. Gusts could reach as high as 60 miles per hour across the Northeast, enough to bring down trees and power lines. In the meantime, Houston, Texas is already seeing roads covered in high water as heavy rain slams the region. And this is just the beginning. Rounds of heavy downpours continue right into the weekend. Flash flood watches are in effect from San Antonio to Houston through Sunday.
And welcome back. Next to the horrific and stunning discovery in a two-story home in Texas, police arrived there after a reported kidnapping and found 90 people huddled up inside. Marcus Moore has more details.
Tonight, authorities making a startling discovery in the southwest Houston neighborhood, finding more than 90 people huddled inside a two-story home. Police say they are all adults and mostly men. The youngest is thought to be in their early 20s. Investigators believe it may be a case of human smuggling, and tonight, amidst the COVID-19 pandemic, worries about their health.
We are concerned that there may be some positive COVID cases inside the house. So we do have our health department en route. They will do some rapid testing.
Making sure the people inside receive any necessary medical attention.
We brought them some food and got them some water. They said they haven't eaten in a while.
It is unclear how long the people have been inside the home.
It was a big surprise when we got in the house and saw what we saw.
One neighbor as shocked by the discovery as police.
We walked at night and we never see anything near to being suspicious.
And Marcus Moore joins us now. So, Marcus, you mentioned those COVID concerns. What's the latest on that? And were there any other medical concerns among the people found?
Well, Kira, first of all, we know from authorities that there were no other medical issues that they're concerned about. The only thing that they noticed was some of the people they found inside the house is that they appeared to have been suffering symptoms of COVID, not being able to taste or smell. And so there were rapid COVID tests being done. And tonight, at the scene in that neighborhood, our local station has reported that several people have been loaded onto white buses there and then will be taken away.
So, as you mentioned, they discovered 90 people. How are they going to figure out who is who?
Well, Kira, first of all, I mean, that's such an extraordinary number because, you know, we have covered these stories before where people have been discovered in safe houses. But personally, I've never seen something along these lines with so many people, 90 people. In the past, when we have seen authorities going through these homes, they typically interview each and every person, and they also look for evidence inside the home to figure out if the people they're speaking with are victims of human smuggling or if indeed they may be the alleged suspects, suspected human smugglers. And at this point, that part of this investigation, Kira, is still ongoing.
We'll follow it with you. Marcus Moore, thanks so much. So talk about the right place at then the right time. Our affiliate in Atlanta, WSB, helped capture an escaped murder suspect. Take a look at this. The reporter and photojournalist spotted him near the airport and flagged police who took him back into custody after a day-long search. This all unfolded after 20-year-old Jason Strover was arrested in the region for a murder that happened back in Arizona. He escaped when two Arizona deputies were dropping off their rental car and unshackled his legs so he could walk down the stairs. Well, this pandemic has definitely changed the way we pass time, and that means our devices have seen a lot of action. Insta, photos, TikTok, and that, of course, means a lot of filters, fancy effects, and fun. But is all that really healthy for us? Ariel Reshef has the story.
They're not real, but they've never looked more lifelike. They can be fun, sometimes a bit scary, oftentimes beautiful. Camera filters powered by augmented reality, or AR, at the fingertips of millions, able to give us that polished look. Some now asking, are filters creating a warped standard of beauty? Recently, a Kardashian family controversy sparked a national conversation. a non-filtered photo of Khloe Kardashian leaked to the public. Then the predictable pattern of harsh critiques and comments followed. Days later, Khloe took to Instagram Live, showing off her body while lamenting the pressure she felt to always look a certain way online.
I have an opinion about Khloe Kardashian and the leaked bikini photo.
With nearly 500,000 followers, TikTok sensation Teffy is known for her unvarnished opinions and says she prides herself on keeping it real.
All right, this is filler, under eye filler, eyelash extensions. I am someone who grew up on the internet, and it totally skewed with my sense of confidence.
Do you think we've completely lost touch with what a real body and a real face actually look like?
I do feel like we're losing touch with what reality looks like, and it hurts me because I feel like reality is beautiful. If a cyborg is half human and half technology, I feel like we're already getting there to the point where we're expecting people to look as unhuman as possible.
The effects, even from some of the simplest filters, are astonishing.
These filters can go from the cute, the sweet, to the ridiculous, but are they creating a false sense of what we should actually look like?
Lenses and filters like these are available on most popular social media platforms, from Snapchat to Instagram. Users can now virtually apply makeup or enhance their appearance.
I don't try to go over the top because I don't want to change so much.
Manuel, a top AR artist, went viral for his Grinch filter. But even with his quirky creations, this one called Patricia, his line of work also comes with pressure to meet a certain demand.
Sometimes I, follow, I'll say, the trend.
Social psychologist Aaron Vogel says beauty filters can be alienating and create a sense of unattainable perfection.
And getting used to seeing themselves that way because filters are so commonplace now.
Experts say what starts out making you feel good can end up being damaging to self-esteem.
We also get a self-esteem boost from other people's reactions.
The American Academy of Facial Plastic and Reconstructive Surgery cautions while beauty filters can be fun, they've also contributed to a surge in demand for cosmetic procedures. 62% of plastic surgeons reported their patients wanted to go under the knife because of dissatisfaction with their social media profile. 57% said their patients wanted to look better in selfies on social media. The association warns if the results don't match that of a beauty filter, it could trigger body dysmorphia.
I get a lot of young girls in my DMs, and by young, I mean like 13, 14, 15, that started to share with me they couldn't post a photo of themselves or a video to their Instagram stories or Grid or anywhere on social media without a filter on.
We reached out to Snapchat, a leader in AR filters, to see if they had any guidelines for usage. The company saying it rejects any lenses that mimic cosmetic surgery. Facebook, which owns Instagram, telling ABC News, we know people may feel pressure to look a certain way on social media, so we ban effects that clearly promote eating disorders or that encourage potentially dangerous cosmetic surgery procedures.
If people see these filters on the phones, they're going to want to look like the standard that we see even on TV.
Even without filters, model Naomi is no stranger to fighting preconceived beauty standards. Last year, Instagram apologized for mistakenly flagging her semi-nude image because automatic censoring algorithms recognized her curvy body differently. In an industry known for airbrushing and touch-ups, she says putting these powerful tools in the hands of users as young as 13 can be a slippery slope.
They can just change whatever they want. You know what I mean? And just continue to change things. Yeah. So that's dangerous in that sense.
For Manuel, growing his platform means harnessing the opportunity to educate.
I'm able now to set the trend. And instead of having a beauty filter, now we're going to have this learning filter, or we're going to have this game, or we're going to have this character.
Talk to your children. You cannot disregard that it is affecting other people and how it might affect the people that you love around you, but you just haven't talked to them about it. We can close the magazine and we can drive past the billboard, but we are on our phones all the time.
Ariel Reshef, ABC News, New York.
Prince William and Kate Middleton, the Duchess of Cambridge, celebrating 10 years of marriage this past week, 3 adorable children, and what a fairy tale wedding that was. But hold on, we have another royal love story for you. ABC News' Maggie Rulli has the exclusive interview, castle, crown, and all.
From political refugee to palace royalty, this fairy tale may look like a Disney movie.
It's hard not to think of this love story as like a little bit of a fairy tale.
It is. It does have a lot of fairy tale in it. But Her Royal Highness Maria Theresa isn't your typical storybook character.
I was born in Cuba. It's very special belonging to a Cuban family. It's joyful, it's happy, it's full of, it's Latin, it's full of life, and it is the root of who I am.
In a rare interview, the Grand Duchess of Luxembourg, the equivalent of the country's queen, is opening up about her life before royalty, telling us when she was just 3, her family fled Cuba during the revolution, finding refuge in New York City.
What were you dreaming of as a kid in New York City?
I think, like all children, I was dreaming of what I was going to do when I was older, who I was going to become.
Could you have ever dreamed that life would bring you here? Grand Duchess of Luxembourg, a royal family in Europe?
Really not. No, not at all.
After New York, she was studying in Geneva when she met her Prince Charming, Henry, the Grand Duke of Luxembourg.
So here we are, beginning of university, and I meet this young boy, and I do know that I've said to myself, we're going to keep a distance. The worst thing you can do is fall in love with a crown prince. What a problem. That was my thought.
You're one of the first outsiders to marry into a royal family anywhere. You're also not from a European background. You're Cuban. What was that like for you?
At the time, it was not usual for a young girl who was not of the royal circle to marry into the royal circle.
It had to be incredibly difficult. Here you are, a young woman falling in love, the love of your life, and not knowing whether or not you'll be able to actually spend your lives together.
Yeah, it was hard. And the more the years passed, the more stressful it became.
Her story, in some ways, so similar to Meghan Markle's. 2 women, 2 outsiders, trying to find their place within an exclusive society they never imagined being a part of.
What advice would you give to someone who is an outsider?
It is a life that demands more. When you're confronted to situations where you cannot do what you would want to do, well, you're not going to denounce the whole system that you belong to, because you're lucky to have married into this incredible family situation.
As the Grand Duchess discovered, when you marry into royalty, you also marry into centuries of royal tradition.
Belonging to a royal family is a particular responsibility. It's a life of giving up your liberty. It's a life of commitment to your country, and especially of service.
44 countries have monarchies, from the Himalayan kingdom of Bhutan and the streets of Tokyo to the shores of Tonga and the palaces of the UK and Europe. Kings, queens, and emperors wielding a power that's intangible but undeniably influential.
When you enter a royal family, what you do realize is that you marry not only the crown prince, as I married, but you also marry the institution, and you marry the country.
Critics argue that the monarchies of today are undemocratic, cost the taxpayers money, and are increasingly outdated. For perhaps the most famous of the royals, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, the flaws of the modern monarchy have been deeply felt. Meghan Markle openly sharing her struggles in joining this institution with Oprah Winfrey.
It's easy to have an image of it that is so far from reality. And that's what was really tricky over those past few years, is when the perception and the reality are 2 very different things, and you're being judged on the perception, but you're living the reality of it.
What was your reaction when you heard that Prince Harry and Meghan were going to be stepping down as senior royals, moving to America, leaving the United Kingdom?
Well, of course, it's sad, but I wouldn't want to place a judgment now. I think that it is a tremendous challenge to enter a royal family, and it is a tremendous honor and an incredible responsibility toward that family that accepts you with open arms.
For the 40 years that she's lived and served in her adopted country, the Grand Duchess has never forgotten her roots.
How much does your background play into the way you are today?
I have the spontaneity of the Cubans, but I also have learned through living in the States, in Switzerland, and now in Luxembourg, that you have to take time to reflect. That's where I say that all cultures have brought me a lot.
Her multicultural background and experience directly impacting the causes she chooses to champion, including leading a groundbreaking conference supporting women who have been raped during war. Through her organization, Stand, Speak, Rise Up.
I can face these causes because I feel so much for the people who are suffering from these problems. I'm living in the most privileged way. I have to help those who really are living the worst situations.
The Grand Duchess says she will continue to honor and serve the monarchy and country that has taken her in as their own, and in doing so, hopes to represent the best of what a royal family can be.
The thing is this. In a monarchy, the people identify themselves to a family. And it's a family that is above politics. You are there, you are the symbol, you are there for all. And you are always at the service of all and open to all.
For ABC News, I'm Maggie Rulli.
Well, before we go tonight, the image of the day. First Lady Dr. Jill Biden commemorating Arbor Day by planting a tree on the north lawn of the White House. Well, she raised a few eyebrows when she walked out with a shovel and in high heels. Guess what her response was? Who doesn't plant trees in high heels? That's our show for this hour. Stay tuned to ABC News Live for more context and analysis of the day's top stories. Thanks so much for streaming with us. And coming up in the next hour, why disgraced movie mogul and convicted felon Harvey Weinstein may soon be on his way to California. And Lindsay brings us the remarkable story of triumph over adversity and how one man went from escaping a civil war all the way to the NFL. And he kept his promise to his mom through it all.
Now, when it matters most, the straightforward facts. ABC News is America's #1 news. Good Morning America, #1 in the morning, 9 years running. World News Tonight with David Muir, #1 in the evening with America's most watched newscast. 2020, the #1 news magazine on Friday nights. The View, the #1 daytime talk show. And ABC News Live, #1 in streaming news. ABC News is America's #1 news.
Somewhere out in the country, there's a man.
I'm Bobby.
Doing good things for good people. He'll walk a mile in their shoes, then get him a brand spanking new pair when he's done.
Just wanted you to have this.
Thank you.
You name it, he'll try. Even if it breaks him.
Bobby Bones, they're trying to break you.
Oh, great.
Breaking Bobby Bones. New series Monday, May 31st at 10 on National Geographic.
I know what happened, and I'm not guilty.
Why the fascination with criminal trials? Figure out what's really out there.
She revealed she had murdered his family.
I know in my heart they did this.
It's the time of suspicion.
The ending's really tough.
You don't know whether truth is going to be difficult to find unless you try to find it.
Admit it. These days, what you need to know
Seems to change just about every day.
What is it that you really want to know, need to know,
To help you not just get through your day,
but to make the most of it? Feel smarter.
feel better.
Feel happier.
Well, how about a third hour of Good Morning America in the afternoon?
GMA 3, what you need to know. Lunchtime at 1 Eastern, 12 Central and Pacific on ABC. It's all about you.
I know what happened, and I'm not guilty.
Why the fascination with criminal trials? Figure out what's really out there.
She revealed she had murdered his family.
I know in my heart they did this.
It's
It's the time of suspicion.
The ending's really tough. You don't know whether truth is going to be difficult to find unless you try to find it.
The reality is our country can collapse from within.
You see the white power movement on the march. Klansmen and neo-Nazis, skinheads, it's meant to incite war.
From the KKK to Oklahoma City to Charlottesville, the new documentary event special.
We just need to start talking about race.
Homegrown hate, the war among us.
This is a real wake-up call.
Streaming now on ABC News Live.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Kira Phillips. Thanks for streaming with us. We are monitoring several developments here at ABC News this hour. The White House, following the advice of the CDC, is restricting travel to India amid the country's devastating surge in COVID cases. This rise happening as America also reached a new milestone. More than 100 million American adults fully vaccinated. The Army has released a long-awaited report into the death of Vanessa Guillen in Texas. Investigators reveal she was sexually harassed by a supervisor at Fort Hood, and military leaders ignored her allegations. The abuse not linked to her murder. And in Houston, police responded to a report of kidnapping and made a stunning discovery: a possible human smuggling ring, resulting in more than 90 people found huddled in a two-story home. Well, President Biden is back on the road, making a push for his massive and very expensive infrastructure package. His proposal is meeting stiff resistance from Republicans in Congress who say the price tags are just too high. Elizabeth Schulze has the latest.
After unveiling his ambitious agenda to Congress totaling more than $4 trillion in federal spending,
doing nothing is not an option.
President Biden is hitting the road and rails to sell his infrastructure plan to the American people.
Today, we have a once-in-a-generation opportunity to make investments that can help America get back on track, no pun intended.
The president in Philadelphia today marking the 50th anniversary of his beloved Amtrak. His $2 trillion American Jobs Plan includes $80 billion to rebuild passenger and freight service, along with hundreds of billions for roads and bridges, plus broadband internet, clean drinking water, and renewable energy. Other cabinet members sprawling out across the country to tout the package as a jobs bill.
This is the largest investment in American jobs since World War II.
To pay for his proposals, which also include investments in universal pre-K, childcare, and paid family leave, the president wants to raise taxes on corporations and wealthy Americans earning more than $400,000 a year. An idea unlikely to win any support from Republicans.
He clearly believes that he can tax, spend, and regulate our country into prosperity.
But the White House says issues like infrastructure have bipartisan support from the American public, pointing to polls showing that a majority of voters support the president's plan.
And our thanks to Elizabeth. Now to developments in the criminal cases against disgraced movie mogul Harvey Weinstein. He's currently serving a 23-year prison sentence after his February 2020 conviction for sexually assaulting one woman and raping another. Now he may be sent to Los Angeles to face separate rape and sexual assault charges over alleged encounters with 5 different women. ABC's Aaron Katursky has been covering this story from the very beginning. He joins us now to discuss all the developments. So why don't we start with Weinstein, who had a virtual court appearance today. Aaron, tell us what happened.
Yeah, he did. And Kira, he appeared rather nonchalant. He wore a dark-colored button-down shirt, sat against a light blue cinder block wall, and simply listened as an extradition proceeding was underway. Harvey Weinstein's defense team has been trying to delay his transfer from New York to California, where he faces new criminal sex assault charges. His attorneys say that Harvey Weinstein is in ill health, his sight is going, and he has other ailments, and he's been receiving medical treatment while in prison up near Buffalo, New York, after his conviction in Manhattan on rape and sex assault charges. And they say, let that treatment continue, and then he can go to Los Angeles to face the new charges. As the defense team has put it, Harvey Weinstein isn't going anywhere. But the prosecutors are anxious to get this case moving. And the judge today said that, well, within 30 days, unless there is some other kind of application to delay, California better start making arrangements to transfer Harvey Weinstein across the country.
Well, since he's already serving more than 2 decades in prison, do you think that California prosecutors will still fight hard to convict him on these additional charges?
Oh, you can bet they will. California, I think, wants its pound of flesh in this case, Kira. Harvey Weinstein, as you say, was convicted here in Manhattan. The crimes were rather old. They did date from a number of years ago, but within the statute of limitations. And around the same time, years ago in Los Angeles, especially at the hotels in Beverly Hills, Harvey Weinstein is accused of sexually assaulting different women. And the charges have been even expanded since Harvey Weinstein was first accused in Los Angeles. So that case is certainly going to move ahead, even though there is a new district attorney. There was an issue with how the prosecutors filed paperwork. That's why this transfer has been delayed as long as it is, and they don't want it delayed any further. But Harvey Weinstein is then going to be fighting on 2 different coasts, because as he faces the new charges in Los Angeles, he is appealing his conviction here in New York on grounds that the judge made several errors and that there was a juror who was tainted from the start, but who was still allowed to sit in judgment of him. This particular juror had written a book about the tendencies of older men to prey on younger women, and the defense said she never should have been allowed on that panel.
Well, from coast to coast, we will follow it all with you. Aaron Katersky, thank you.
Thank you, Kira.
Tropical storm force wind gusts continue to lash out at parts of the Northeast as Texas braces for more flooding. Rob Marciano joining us. Rob, what's on tap for the weekend?
Well, Kira, we'll start with the wind, which is going off here along the Hudson rough seas. We've had winds gusting to 50+ miles per hour in Manhattan and Jersey City. Damaging winds earlier today across D.C., and I expect a second surge of damaging winds during the overnight period. So because of that, wind alerts have been kept up through at least tomorrow morning. There you see it from New England all the way down to North Carolina. And we could see 20, 30, 40, maybe another 50 to 60 mile per hour wind gusts overnight. So more trees down and maybe some power outages in your area. So keep that flashlight by the nightstand. Meanwhile, we're watching this very slow-moving, deep low at the upper levels in Texas, and that's going to create slow and steady flooding rains, I think, throughout the day tomorrow across the Lone Star State, especially Austin, San Antonio, Victoria through Houston. Then that low kind of ejects down I-10, taps more in the way of the Gulf of Mexico, but the winds will strengthen. The dynamics kind of get a little bit more clear, and Louisiana and Mississippi during the day on Sunday, I think they're going to be under the gun for some severe weather, possibly some tornadoes as we head towards the end of the weekend. Kira?
Well, we definitely felt those high winds today in the Big Apple. Rob Marciano, thanks so much. Well, we turn now to Elliot Page opening up in his first interview since coming out as a transgender man in December. The actor revealing to Oprah what led to his decision and life since that announcement. Arkana Whitworth has the story.
I mean, definitely, obviously, quite the journey.
Elliot Page in his first interview as an out trans man, speaking with Oprah about his decision to transition.
With this platform I have, the privilege that I have, and knowing the pain and the difficulties and the struggles I faced in my life, let alone what so many other people are facing, it absolutely felt just crucial and important for me to share that.
Page, starring in the movie Inception. We're dreaming. Also receiving an Oscar nomination for Juno in 2008.
Because you're like the coolest person I've ever met.
First introducing himself as Elliot on social media last December, writing, "I can't begin to express how remarkable it feels to finally love who I am enough to pursue my authentic self." The actor receiving an outpouring of support. Elliot speaking out about why now, more than ever, it was important to share his story with the public.
For me, I think it is in this time we're in right now, and especially with this horrible backlash we're seeing towards trans people, particularly trans youth, it really felt imperative to do so.
According to Freedom for All Americans, over 100 anti-trans bills have been introduced so far this year.
So the messages that are being sent by this legislation, regardless of whether it passes or not, sends these harmful messages that trans people don't belong.
Tearfully, Page describing the little moments that reveal his happiness.
Just being in a t-shirt. It's being able to touch my chest and feel comfortable in my body for probably the first time. Tears of joy.
And speaking his truth, pretty powerful. Well, it's now been 10 years since the killing of Osama bin Laden, the terrorist mastermind behind our 9/11 attacks. And the History Channel has come out with a new documentary packed with new information about the historic 2011 raid, including firsthand accounts from those involved in that extremely stealth and strategic mission. Ariel Reshef has the story.
There was no way for us to absolutely confirm that it was bin Laden.
It was the daring, covert operation at an Abbottabad, Pakistan compound that changed the course of history.
The United States has conducted an operation that killed Osama bin Laden, the leader of al-Qaeda.
Now, 10 years after the raid on Osama bin Laden's hideout, the History Channel releasing Revealed, the hunt for bin Laden.
The president asked me, so can you do this mission? And I was very candid with him. I said, Mr. President, I don't know.
The 2-hour documentary pulling back the curtain on the planning and technical execution of the risky and momentous mission.
What the film does for me is to breathe life into the commitment that we universally made in the aftermath of the attack, never to forget. And we didn't forget for 10 years until we found Osama bin Laden.
Unnamed members of SEAL Team 6 and several Army helicopter pilots sharing firsthand accounts.
I remember watching the Twin Towers go down in the library of my high school. It definitely strengthened my belief in what I wanted to do, to join the military and serve my country.
And key decision makers giving an unprecedented window into the anatomy of the operation that killed the world's most wanted man.
What do you believe the lasting impact of this raid has been and will continue to be on the national security of this country?
It demonstrated in a very vivid way that, when the United States is attacked like that, it will persevere endlessly and go to the ends of the earth to find and bring to justice the perpetrators.
And still to come, several Americans among the dead after that horrific stampede in Israel, as we are learning more about how it all happened. And some travel inspiration as more Americans get vaccinated.
With so much at stake, so much on the line, more Americans turn here than any other newscast. ABC News World News Tonight with David Muir.
We have made it through another week together.
America's #1 most watched newscast across all of television.
Admit it, these days, what you need to know
seems to change just about every day.
What is it that you really want to know, need to know?
To help you not just get through your day,
but to make the most of it. Feel smarter.
Feel better.
Feel happier.
Well, how about a third hour of Good Morning America in the afternoon?
GMA 3, what you need to know. Lunchtime at 1 Eastern, 12 Central and Pacific on ABC. It's all about you.
Robin Roberts, George Stephanopoulos, Michael Strahan. Wake up with America's #1 most watched morning show. ABC's
Good Morning America.
The world may feel out of your control, but your happiness doesn't have to be. Learn the secrets to happiness. Listen to the 10% Happier podcast, free on Apple Podcasts.
ABC News honored winner for the second straight year with the Edward R. Murrow Award for Overall Excellence in Television. ABC News, America's #1 news source. Friday nights, 9/8 Central. True crime, cinematic, real-life drama, stunning, the unthinkable. Follow the clues. The Hunt. True Crime 2020. Friday nights, 9/8 Central on ABC.
The reality is our country can collapse from within.
You see the white power movement on the march. You will not replace us. Klansmen and neo-Nazis, skinheads, it's meant to incite war.
From the KKK to Oklahoma City to Charlottesville, the new documentary event special.
We just need to start talking about race.
Homegrown hate, the war among us.
This is a real wake-up call.
Streaming now on ABC News Live.
Now, when it matters most, the straightforward facts. ABC News is America's #1 news. Good Morning America, #1 in the morning, 9 years running. World News Tonight with David Muir, #1 in the evening with America's most watched newscast. 2020, the #1 news magazine on Friday nights. The View, the #1 daytime talk show. And ABC News Live, #1 in streaming news. ABC News is America's #1 news.
We're tracking several international headlines this hour. Israeli officers are calling it one of the worst disasters in that nation's history. We also learned that Americans are among the dead after that horrific stampede. Dozens of people were killed around this time last night at this religious festival, where authorities believe 100,000 people showed up when only 10,000 were expected. American troops in Afghanistan on alert tonight. Military officials concerned about possible Taliban attacks surrounding tomorrow's original withdrawal date. The State Department has now ordered some essential personnel to leave the U.S. Embassy in Kabul. President Biden plans to pull out all the remaining 2,500 U.S. personnel by 9/11, which would end America's longest war. South Africa mourning tonight after the death of the Zulu Queen, the traditional ruler of that nation's largest ethnic group. She had taken over that role a month after her husband died. The Zulu royal family has no formal powers, but it's very symbolic culturally and controls millions of acres of land through a trust. Now to that private school in Miami that made headlines this week when it asked teachers to not get vaccinated and to stay away from students if they did. Well, we have to stress this was all based on false claims about science. TJ Holmes reports.
A vaccine mandate of a different kind. As cruise lines, employers, and universities are rolling out requirements to get the COVID-19 vaccine, one school in Miami is doing the opposite, telling employees not to get the shot.
At this moment, I'm asking the teachers to hold off and refrain till the end of the school year. And if there are any extenuating circumstances, we're going to take it case by case.
Centner Academy, a private institution founded by Layla and David Centner in 2019 with strong beliefs in, quote, health freedom, where tuition costs nearly $30,000 for middle school, alerted faculty and staff last week of a new COVID-19 vaccine policy.
I have to draw the line in the sand today and tell you that if you want to get it, this is not going to be the right school for you. If you did get it, maybe try and refrain from hugging the kids.
The founder then wrote to teachers in a message, if you want to get the vaccine, you will not be able to return to school until clinical trials are complete if a position is still available at that time. Their reason? An unscientific and false claim that people could experience vaccine side effects just by standing next to someone who's been vaccinated.
There is no truth to that. Even saying something like that shows a fundamental misunderstanding of how these vaccines work.
On Wednesday, a student emailed her mother saying her teacher is telling us to stay away from you guys and not hug you guys for more than 5 seconds. She is also saying that we should not get the COVID vaccine. Parents outraged that their students' and teachers' safety are at risk.
This is heartbreaking to see that the leaders of a school that you trust are making decisions that fly in the face of science.
The school held a Zoom conference on Thursday to address concerns as questions now grow about the legality of telling an employee they should not get a vaccine.
It is outrageous. It's seemingly insane. And she's probably allowed to do it. Because this is a private school, she can largely make the rules that she wants to make as long as it doesn't discriminate based on race or gender, or that it doesn't discriminate against someone with a medical reason that they would need to get the vaccine.
Well, it's a game-changing announcement from the CDC. Cruise ships can set sail starting in July, but the new guidelines will have strict requirements. Our Gio Benitez has the very latest.
The cruise industry in America is about to make a big comeback. The CDC now telling cruise lines they can sail from U.S. ports starting in mid-July if at least 98% of the crew and 95% of the passengers are vaccinated.
We're really excited.
Tom McAlpin is the president and CEO of Virgin Voyages. He says they're ready to get sailing in America.
Americans like to travel. They deserve it. They need to get out there. And they love cruising. Cruising has very high satisfaction rates, great value for money, and we're super excited that we see a path forward to begin sailing later this summer.
The cruise industry was shut down over a year ago when the pandemic hit. Now, bookings are soaring.
Virtually every cruise line partner that we talk with is seeing exceptional bookings for 2022 and beyond. A lot of cruise lines have opened booking farther in advance than ever before, and they're seeing some really positive momentum there.
The Buccolo family is ready to jump on board.
We're beyond words excited. It's super excited. This is the news we've been waiting to hear for weeks now. We're just ready to book. Sign us up.
Virgin, Royal Caribbean, Celebrity, and Norwegian have all said that vaccinations will be required for all adult passengers and crew. But some possible rough legal waters. Florida's governor had previously banned companies in Florida from requiring vaccines.
We fall under the jurisdiction of the CDC with regard to the rules and regulations and a regulatory body. These are things that will have to be sorted out.
And Florida has a reason to sort it out. The economic impact from the cruise industry is huge. Peter Cranis runs the Office of Tourism on Florida's Space Coast, home to Port Canaveral. When you add up all the numbers, how much money are we talking about?
I mean, we're estimating losses that could approach $500 million in visitor spending not occurring, plus all the lost jobs, all the lost wages, tourist development tax that's gone.
And our thanks to Gio. The pandemic may have halted the wanderlust in us all, but as the U.S. slowly begins to reopen, so will some beautiful destinations. Our Will Reeve is in Arizona with some travel inspiration.
Home to the iconic Grand Canyon and dotted with ghost towns. Arizona also boasts epic waterfalls, horse country, and breathtaking rock formations. Dramatic terrain offering adventurers a steep challenge.
I'm just hanging out here in the McDowell Mountains. Climbing is a hugely popular activity in Arizona.
Tucked away in Jerome, Arizona, Maynard Keenan of the Grammy-winning metal band Tool and A Perfect Circle is quietly cultivating grapes, a leading winemaker among a growing community.
The process of making wine and making music for me is very similar. It's a lot of metaphorically and literally listening.
The sounds of Native American and indigenous culture running deep in the state. Arizona was hit hard by the pandemic, suffering staggering losses of life and livelihood. Its tourism industry especially devastated.
I went from doing about 260 events a year down to 0.
Astronomer Ben Loker, who owns Arizona Star Tours, got creative with a high-resolution feed from his telescope so customers can see space and socially distance.
Traditionally, you have to look through a telescope with an eyepiece, and of course that's a problem right now. So I thought, what are the other alternatives to this? The best way to solve that problem was to remove the eyepiece and attach a camera.
Now, with some of the lower COVID-19 case numbers in the country, the stars are out, and Arizona is ready once again to rise and shine.
And our thanks to Will Reeve. Well, Major Biden is out of the doghouse and back in the White House. The first dog has returned after doing some additional training. You may recall he was involved in 2 biting incidents on the White House grounds. And this spring, Dr. Jill Biden said that his training included seeing cats at a shelter and that he did just fine. Well, that, of course, led to the fact that he has a new friend now, and the first cat is expected to arrive soon. And finally tonight, the NFL draft represents a moment of triumph for those selected to play the game that they've loved since a very young age. But for one loyal athlete and son, being drafted represents his mother's devotion, despite her own hardship and loss, and a promise he made to her years ago. Our Lindsay Davis brings us the remarkable backstory of one of the newest members of the Indianapolis Colts.
The Indianapolis Colts select Kwity Paye.
On its face, this moment was about football. But for Kwity Paye, the 22-year-old defensive end from the University of Michigan, it's so much more.
My journey will start with my mother's journey.
And right at his side for this life-changing announcement, his mom, Agnes Paye.
She was born and raised in Liberia, West Africa, and when she was about 12 years old, the Civil War had broke out.
They burned my father's house. My father had his brother's house next door. They burned his wife and his children in the house. I never see my father again.
She escaped to a refugee camp in Sierra Leone, then to another in Guinea, where she would give birth to a son, his name carrying special meaning.
Kwity name is my father's name. I have to give them the life I never had.
The family later moved to Rhode Island, where his mom worked 2 jobs to pay for private school, where Kwity excelled at sports.
Sometimes some of his game I didn't get to attend. I have to work.
He then earned a scholarship to Michigan. His mom, always his motivation.
Yeah, I feel like that's why I work so hard. Just because I know what she's been through, I want to make sure she never has to lift a finger again. I'm gonna hold my promise to her.
And hold that promise he did. The moment of the night, Kwity telling his mom her work is done.
For my family, she's done working. She's retired.
I love it. She's finally retired. Best news of all. Oh, Kwity. Well, that's our show for tonight. Stay tuned to ABC News Live for more context and analysis of the day's top stories. I'm Kira Phillips. Thanks so much for streaming with us tonight.
I'm Ginger Z, and it's not too late. And I have a warning for you. The cicadas are coming.